Welcome to this Tutor2U Sociology topic video on social inequality for Cambridge OCR A-Level Sociology. In this video we're going to look at dual labour market theory, the work of Barron and Norris. One of the most important explanations of inequality in the workplace is Barron and Norris's dual labour market theory, first developed in 1976. In Sexual Divisions in the Dual Labour Market, they looked at how the labour market is structured and why certain groups, particularly women and ethnic minorities, tend to be concentrated in lower paid, less secure jobs. The context of the research was the 1970s labour market in Britain and other Western societies. This was a time when women and minority ethnic groups were entering paid work in greater numbers, yet still faced significant barriers to career progression. Many were confined to part-time, insecure or low-status jobs, despite legal changes such as the Equal Pay Act of 1970 and the Sex Discrimination Act of 1975. Barron and Norris set out to explain why these inequalities persisted. Their theory divided the labour market into two distinct sectors. Firstly, the primary labour market, consisting of secure, well-paid and high-status jobs. These jobs usually offered career progression, good working conditions, pensions and long-term stability. Workers in this sector were often male, white and middle class. Conversely, there was the secondary labour market, consisting of insecure, low-paid and low-status jobs with few opportunities for advancement. These jobs were often part-time or temporary, with limited training or benefits, and workers in this sector were disproportionately women, young people and minority ethnic groups. Barron and Norris argued that structural inequalities pushed different social groups into different parts of the labour market. The primary sector rewards those with social and cultural advantages, while a secondary sector traps disadvantaged groups in a cycle of low pay and insecurity. This is not simply a matter of individual choice or merit, but a reflection of wider patterns of discrimination and inequality. Barron and Norris's sociological perspective is rooted in Weberian analysis. Weber emphasised life chances and how different groups experience unequal opportunities based upon their class, status and power, and Barron and Norris built upon this, showing how inequalities in the labour market are systematically reproduced. The theory can also connect to feminist arguments about the persistence of the glass ceiling and the way in which women are often confined to low-status, caring or part-time roles. In terms of methods, Barron and Norris's theory was based on empirical observation of labour markets, supported by statistical data about wages, job security and employment patterns, as well as qualitative evidence about workplace discrimination. While they didn't conduct one single study, their work brought together existing research to create a clear theoretical model. Their key findings highlighted that there were structural barriers, not just individual choices, which explained persistent inequalities in work. Women and ethnic minorities were overrepresented in the secondary labour market, as employers often treated these groups as flexible labour, useful in insecure or low-paid roles, but excluded from secure long-term jobs. They also found that even when individuals gained qualifications, they often found it difficult to move from the secondary to the primary sector due to discrimination and lack of social networks. We can illustrate Barron and Norris's theory with examples such as women being overrepresented in part-time retail or care work, and minority ethnic workers being concentrated in manual, insecure jobs, despite having qualifications that could fit them for better positions. Evaluating the dual labour market theory, one strength is that it provides a clear explanation for persistent inequalities in employment, linking them to structural features of the labour market rather than blaming individuals. It also remains relevant today, as gig economy jobs, zero-hour contracts and casualised labour mirror many of the features of the secondary sector. However, there are weaknesses. Some argue the model is too simplistic, since the labour market is not always neatly divided into two sectors. Secondly, it may understate the agency of individuals who do move between sectors. Postmodern approaches would suggest that work is now far more diverse and fragmented, and that class divisions cannot be captured by a single dual model. And Marxists may also criticise the theory for focusing on market divisions, rather than the underlying capitalist system that creates inequality in the first place. For students of Cambridge OCR Sociology, Barron and Norris's theory is highly useful in exam answers. Students can use it to explain why certain groups face persistent disadvantages in the workplace, for example, women and ethnic minorities. It can also be compared with Marxist views of exploitation, feminist theories on gender inequality, and Weberian theories of stratification and life chances. In conclusion, Barron and Norris's dual labour market theory provides us with a powerful explanation of workplace inequality. It shows how disadvantaged groups are structurally channeled into insecure and low-paid jobs, and it highlights the persistence of inequality in modern society. Although it's been criticised for being simplistic, it remains a valuable tool for understanding the patterns of class, gender, and ethnic inequality in the labour market. That concludes this Tutor2U Sociology topic video on social inequality for Cambridge OCR A-Level Sociology. Looking at the dual labour market theory, the work of Barron and Norris. Thanks for watching.